This video is about how we can have a tainted perception or perspective after experiencing trauma or after going through a relationship with a toxic person. That's what this video is about. My name is Marion and I'm with Restoring Ghettos Forgotten. And I thought this was a topic that I wanted to delve into because I think some of us think that we're okay sometimes and we're not. And so we end up saying, you know, like we hear it all the time that the dating pool has pee in it, excuse my French. But, you know, we end up saying that, but what if we actually was responsible for some of that urine in the water? That's what this video is about. It's about self-awareness. It's about us becoming self-aware and how to become healthier people so that we can engage each other in a healthy manner. I won't be long, but I'm over here on the south side of town. I had to go view a property and I just pulled over because I said I need to get this video out of me, so I want to go ahead and talk about it. But how do we change that tainted perspective after being in those toxic environments? How do we do that? And so I wanted to delve into that because I always want to give us ways of getting better. And one of my simplest ways is you want to realize that your view is tainted. Like you have a film or a blurred view over your perception towards others and the world around you, and you need to figure out where you got that from. So you have to figure out, hey, did this come from how I was raised? Did it come from some of my trauma experiences? Did it come from a toxic relationship? And if so, we need to go back in and do some more work because we are responsible for how we are now. We couldn't do anything if anything happened to us as children, but we can do something definitely now. So that's what this video is about. It's about becoming self-aware and learning how to go inside and heal ourselves and become better people, ultimately making it a better world and to have a better culture. So one thing that I find that how you can change your perspective and your perception on life is just being grateful for what you do have. Being grateful for all the positive and the good things in your life can change your perspective on life. Like you could be like, oh, it's a wonderful day, instead of seeing it from a toxic point of view or a trauma point of view. You might say, man, it looks like it's about to storm. I don't know, I may not be safe. I better get home, like right now. Then you're looking at it from this blurred view. But if you look at it from a more positive aspect, you can say, this is God's way of keeping everything growing. And so I'm going to be safe though, but this is just a part of life. You know, seeing things from, always having that silver lining. No matter what I've been through in life, I always try to dig deep or dig within and always find something good about a certain situation. So and that's kept me going for a long time. But I thought we should talk about this because a lot of times we don't understand that we could be a part of the problem. And how do we fix that? Is that we recognize in our lives where we are our own poison. Meaning everybody you meet can't be messed up. Not everybody. Sometimes we have this blurred vision over our eyes, so over our seeing eyes, over our heart, over our psyche. It's because there's unhealed trauma there. So we're meeting people and we automatically perceive them as a threat. So what do? That's why our friendships and our relationships aren't working out. And even in some of our family structures, they're not working out because immediately we believe this person is out to take something of value from me. This person is trying to harm me or hurt me. That's because we haven't healed our subconscious mind about some of the bad trauma or toxic experiences that we've been through. We have to retrain our thoughts. We have to know that we have to work. We have to purge our toxic traits. So this is very important. And I often say this because sometimes, you know, we don't like to believe our stuff stinks. We're this, we're that, we're perfect. No, we're all a work in progress. And because of our human conditions, we're going to always be a work in progress. We're never going to be done with our work. As long as we're living, we're working, right? So I just wanted to bring this up because there's so many people that lack understanding because of how they perceive the people around them and how they perceive the world around them, because they haven't cleared their vision, and we need to clear our vision. And so I'll just go into an example on this. Is a really major example because it went beyond the lines of romantic friendship. It went into platonic. It went into my everyday way of thinking, how I had to remove the blurred vision that I had based off of this one experience I had with a toxic partner. I had this toxic partner. This was many moons ago, many years ago. I had this toxic partner, and this particular person was so broken and mean and harmful. He was physically abusive. He was mentally and verbally abusive. And it would be sometimes when I would be, and I was broken too, because there is no way I should have allowed this relationship to continue on. But because I was in this broken space, I allowed it to happen. And many of you know my story. I wrote a book. It's called Ghettos Forgotten Daughters, and it tells us the story about what I went through in my youth and my self-discovery, and how I had to really go inside myself and fix myself. But I tell a big part of my life in that book. But I'll just go forward. This person was always verbally abused. He verbally abused me more than physically, but that verbal abuse that will stay with you subconsciously for years. So it's because of all the harsh words he said to me. And sometimes he would get in my ear at night while I was trying to sleep and just tell me how bad I was. Just tell me how horrible I was. Tell me I was nothing, because I didn't have anything, or I grew up in the hood and I was, we grew up poor and we didn't have anything. And he would just say all these horrible things in my ear, and I was just sitting there taking it, because subconsciously I believed him, and I believed that I deserved all that mistreatment because of what I grew up around and what I saw my family go through. So I thought I deserved it. So I stayed there and I listened. And this man, by the time he was done with me, I was this small. And so I had to really work on myself. But I said all that to say it's because that's when my perception got even worse. And I had this really blurred perception and perspective on life and the people around me. So much so that I had very deep-rooted trust issues. I didn't even want females around me. I didn't want female friends. I didn't want family. I wanted to isolate myself. Isolation. The enemy is all about isolating you. So that's why it was done to me, because the enemy knew the gift that God had put inside of me. But if he could keep it in through isolation and beating me down to where I felt like I was unworthy to speak the good news of Jesus Christ, to speak how God can redeem the most worst situation, then that's why he was used. He was used to make me do this and shrink myself so that I couldn't be used by the kingdom of God. And so that's why it happened. And I said all that because at that point I was so small, and I just wanted to protect myself, and I just wanted to isolate myself. I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to get hurt anymore. So but because of that, I wasn't being used, and I wasn't fulfilling the gifts and the abilities that God put inside of me to help other people. So actually the enemy was winning at that time. But I knew I had to get my work done, and I had to work on myself, because I couldn't forever isolate myself. Anybody that's isolating themselves right now, I'm telling you, it's not good for you. It is not good for you. I know sometimes we have to go inside ourselves, but don't stay there too long. Please don't, because it's not good for you. The enemy is there to attack you in your isolation. He wants to make you feel unworthy. He wants to make you feel that you can't walk in God's purpose, that you can't have all these things that God has already promised you because of who you are and where you came from. That's a lie. And I want you to know, don't stay isolated for too long, because we need each other. We need each other so that we can pour into each other and help each other grow. So don't do that. I said all that to say is because once I did finally get back out there and start engaging other people, I was so broken, you guys. I was so broken. I would meet guys, and I mean, I've never had a problem with attracting people, and I'm not trying to fluff myself up or nothing. I didn't even have to try to pull at people. They just for whatever reason, they were attracted to me. So I had guys coming on to me, but because of all the horrible things he said to me, and this man was speaking riddles, and I always tried to understand what was being said beneath what was actually being said. And so I was actually the problem, because some of these men did not mean me wrongdoing. They didn't mean to come into my life to hurt me, but that's how I perceived it, because I still hadn't healed from that yet. So I would get into disagreements with people because I still had that filter over my eyes, the filter of the toxic person that had spoke all those negative words into my psyche. I hadn't healed from that. So when someone else was talking to me the right way, I couldn't distinguish the two. And that was a horrible place to be, you guys. So I thought this video was important for me to pour out these life experiences that I had, so that I can help you understand that sometimes we're not as healthy as we think we are. We think that we lose the toxic partner, we're not being traumatized anymore, we're okay. No, you still have some inside work to do. You still got to do some purging of those toxic traits that you adapted to, not consciously, but subconsciously. You adapted to some of these things because you had to go into survival mode to be able to go through the trauma and the toxic experiences that you were going through. So you had to put on a little bit of the I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but you had to start behaving in some type of way, in a toxic manner, to be able to survive it. That's what I wanted to say. So we develop those toxic traits that we have to later go in and fix and purge those things out of us. So I said all that to say, I'm saying that because I see so many times the spirit of offense. I'm getting all these messages and it's just a distraction. The spirit of offense will keep us in lack of understanding, and it will keep us isolated, because that's what the enemy wants. He wants you to shrink yourself down. He wants you to not engage other people. He wants you to stay there broken and weak. And we can't do that. We have to fight. We have to fight for everything that God said He's already promised us, but we have to do our work. So there are so many people that because they lack understanding, because their perspective on life is blurred and it's ambiguous, they don't understand it, and they can't trust other people because they are affecting their quality of life. And that's what this video is about. Because sister, brother, you're not okay being at home by yourself, isolated. You're not okay. We need other people. If we were gonna be okay, God wouldn't have had to make Adam and Eve. He didn't have to make a woman for a man. He could have just created the man if he was gonna be okay with himself. We are not okay with ourselves. We have purpose. God has given us things that we need to do for His kingdom building, and we cannot do that isolated and alone. So we have to do our work, no matter how painful, no matter how hard it may be. I had to go inside myself. I am okay with speaking with the fact that I had to go and counsel and counsel and counsel and counsel to peel back the layers of my dysfunction. And there were layers, and I'm just being honest, layer and layer and layer and layer, and I'm still a work in progress. We'll always be that, but I wanted to mention that don't think your work is done just because you're staying away from what you call toxic people, or you're staying away from everybody, because you're not fulfilling your purpose. You're not walking in God's will with just being in the house, not helping other people, and not even helping yourself. So please, 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 please understand that you don't know it all. We don't know it all, and we're a work in progress. I wanted to say that because I think sometimes we lack understanding. And my prayer has been over the last couple of months is, God, give me understanding where I don't have it. There's always going to be something you don't understand. I'm like, God, please help me in that area. And I pray for the people around me to grant them understanding, because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you lack understanding, you lack everything. We need to have a good sense of understanding so that we can adequately handle and engage the people around us and fulfill God's purpose in our life. That's what this life is about. It's about us knowing our purpose and walking and working in that purpose. We can't do it while we're still broken, while we refuse to help ourselves. So I wanted to bring that up because I think that, and the spirit of offense, I want to say this, I wanted to bring the spirit of offense up. Now, I understand we all have certain values and morals and boundaries that we will not let other people cross. I get that. We're supposed to keep that, right? But there are some things that people will fall out with you about that a simple conversation could have been had. And that could have been a powerful connection or friendship that could have helped many people around you. Because God can bring us together so that we can help other people. But we allow one simple thing to break up a partnership, a friendship, a ministry, or whatever it may be, because somebody did one simple thing. You had one bad encounter. Now, you've probably had about 20 good encounters with that individual. They gave you one bad encounter. And it wasn't like it was a boundary breaker or anything, and you just wipe your hands with them. We have to stop doing that, y'all. The enemy is very decisive with the spirit of offense. He wants you to be offended. He wants you to break those relationships because he knows what we can do if we come together. That's another thing I wanted to mention. And I need to be getting on this freeway because it looks like it's about to storm. But I wanted to make sure I brought that up. That we need to heal. We really do need to heal. I think I got all my little notes said on here, but it's about making sure we can see people adequately and effectively. Like, the worst thing I want to do in this life is to misunderstand a good person, is to misunderstand a person that God has put into my life to help elevate me. So what I tend to do is I say, Lord, if it's something I don't understand, please remove the veil, help me see it more clearly, touch my heart, and that way it'll come to me and I'll be like, that's what it was. And then I immediately turn around and I ask for forgiveness from the person, from God, and I forgive myself so that I can be the best version of myself. And that's what I want for you all. That's what this channel is about. It's about to empower our culture, to encourage and empower us by the changing of our thoughts, the changing of our minds, so that we can ultimately change our lives and have a better time here on planet Earth. That's what it's about. While we're amongst the land of the living, let's enjoy some of this heaven now, okay? I'm done. But I thought that's something I wanted to say. I believe I'm missing a couple of things, but I think you guys can get the point that we have to really be careful that we are looking at people from the correct lens. Is it a healthy, whole, productive lens? Or is it tainted behind some past trauma or some past toxic relationship from the past? And I go back to what I said earlier about, are you putting some of that urine in the water? Are you one of those people that's messing up the dating pool because you refuse to look at yourself, because you refuse to fix what perception you have about other people, what you may have carried over subconsciously? We have to be honest about that, you guys. Okay, I'm done. Always remember to love God, love yourself, and love others. And I will talk to you soon. Mwah! Bye-bye.